We keep it real.
We keep it raw.
We keep it uncut.
All day.
We are
Marriage Takeover.
Hey, people.
What up? What up?
Welcome to Marriage Takeover Kitchen Conversations. It's Thursday night.
Hey, you know how we get crunk? Go ahead, welcome here.
Rep your city.
Rep your city. Your city, your state. Let us know where you are tuning in from.
Hey, check in. It's Marriage Takeover Kitchen Conversations. We want you to check in. Check in your city. Where you repping? It's Thursday night. You know how we do. Hey! Welcome to Kitchen Conversations.
You know how we run it.
Rep your city, rep your state.
Where you tuning from? Where you tuning from? Where you tuning
from? Tag a friend, tell them to get in the room. It's Kitchen Conversations Thursday night marriage takeover.
Come on. Where you tuning in from?
Hey. Come on, check in. Kitchen Conversations. Where you repping?
Oh.
Hey. Hey, welcome to Thursday night marriage takeover kitchen conversations. Hey, hey, where you repping from? Check in where your city or state. Where are you checking in from? It's Thursday night kitchen conversations. Tag your friends, tag your buddies, tag your husbands, tag your wives. We about to dig in on tonight. Hey!
Go run that last one.
Welcome.
Love from Hawaii.
Hawaii in the house.
Hawaii in the house.
Milwaukee in the house.
Milwaukee in the house.
Let's go. Welcome to Kitchen Conversations. It's Thursday night. We do this every Thursday. Have a conversation with you while we're in our kitchen. So welcome to Kitchen Conversations.
Hi from Sandusky, Ohio.
Ohio in the house. Let's go. Welcome to Kitchen Conversations.
Yeah, here we go.
Last round, check in your city, your state. Who you repping?
South Carolina in the house.
South Carolina in the house. Let's go. Hey. Welcome to Kitchen Conversations.
Fresno, California, baby.
No.
Fresno in the hizzle.
Welcome to Kitchen Conversations.
Virginia,
VA in the house.
Jacksonville, Florida.
Jacksonville.
Duval.
Jayville. Welcome to Kitchen Conversations. Welcome to Kitchen Conversations.
Yeah, welcome to Kitchen Conversation. We got a doozy for you.
We got a doozy. I'm your girl, Tamika. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm your girl, Tamika.
I'm your boy, E-Rock Nim, a.k.a. Chef E-Rock Nim.
Listen, we keep it real.
We keep it raw
We keep it uncut.
all day.
We are Marriage Takeover, and you are tuned in to Kitchen Conversations every Thursday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we open up our kitchen and our space and our life to have a conversation with you all while we're cooking dinner. So welcome again to Kitchen Conversations. We are so happy to have you all here, repping in from all over the world. So we appreciate you. Tonight on the menu, someone last week recommended salmon croquette.
Hey, are you here today?
So we got salmon croquette on the menu. We have, what is it, sweet potatoes?
We having a sauteed sweet potato and green with a white wine sauce.
And pita bread.
And garlic. This is garlic naan bread.
Garlic naan bread.
Boom.
Yes. So welcome.
Are you with me today? I'm sorry, go ahead. What you say?
No, that's what's up. Welcome to Kitchen Conversations.
Welcome.
So we're excited about tonight. We are just going to open it up. If this is your first time, we like to just drop little nuggets, have conversations. We love the interaction with everybody. So make sure that you are tuning in, that you are checking in with us, and we're going to go ahead and get started.
Yeah. So, Father, in the name of Jesus, Lord, we thank you, dear Lord, for this time, this moment, oh God. We thank you for the conversation. So, God, we pray now in the name of Jesus, oh God, that whatever is said here, God, will strengthen, lift up, encourage, oh God, in the name of Jesus. We thank you, we bless you. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. Let's rock with it.
Let's rock. What's going on? We got a moderator, so we want to be able to get to everybody's questions, everybody's comments. We hope that we can. We may not get to everybody's, but just know that we are not ignoring you. We got our moderator moderating, and we're going to get to everybody as soon as we can.
Hey, are you with me?
You good?
So let's go.
All right.
So
Boom.
this month, go ahead, baby.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So this month, as you know,
Oil?
huh?
Is that oil?
No, that's water.
Oh.
All right, here we go. Kitchen conversation already starting out. Already.
So for you all that don't know, I'm not the chef. He's the chef. I like to just kind of sit sometimes to do back drive, back seat. What is
Backseat
it called?
cooking.
Backseat cooking.
It's all right.
So I like to taste test. I like to do those different things. I'm good at side dishes. So last week, if you were tuning in, Eric did stovetop mac and cheese. That didn't go over really well, but I make a bomb mac and cheese. But he is like the chef, right?
Listen. I said, let me try it. That was my first time running it. Trust me, I bow to her for the mac and cheese. So trust me, I would not be running that again.
Right. So we talked about communication all month long. And so this week, we are just kind of digging into why women and men communicate differently.
Whoa.
And why that is a myth, right? You've heard that saying, what is it? Women are for Venus and men are for Mars. And so sometimes the conversation is different. It hits different. You perceive it different. It rocks different. It's heard different. All that great stuff, right? So we're going to break that down on today and really see, is that really true, right? Now, just by popular demand, and because like I'm going to speak on behalf of the women, and men don't come for me. But I know women, we communicate amazingly, right? We got this thing about how we communicate, and we communicate our emotions, our feelings, all those different things in such a great way, right? And men not so much. At least that's the myth, right?
That's
the
myth. That is the myth.
And that's like the myth, right? For most of the time in their life, and they talk about how the women, I've just been reading more studies and stuff just about how women process differently, the way our brains are wired, right? We can sometimes go in circles.
Step back real quick. Boom. So these are the croquettes. I went ahead and prepped them up early, so they're a little big. Honestly,
so what you got in there?
This is my first time doing it. So
I know y'all are elevating our palate.
No, not elevating my palate. Just elevating what I cook. Amen.
Ain't my palate. I don't think I've ever had a croquette before.
Her palate. Because she don't want to wine and dine when we take her to these places. She'd be like, gosh. I'll take a salmon sandwich with the crust cut off. So what's in the croquette is flour, pinko crumbs, breadcrumbs, pinko, them. Red and green peppers. Hit it with, I put some smoked paprika, Old Bay. I'm in Maryland, so you know that Old Bay, that's how we run with the seafood. Garlic.
Green peppers, bell peppers.
Garlic. What else I put in there? Garlic, onion powder, egg as a binder, and smoked paprika. And I put a garlic and a garlic salt, so to help bring that salt into it. So that's the what is this? This is the salmon croquette. So in some areas we call it a salmon cake. In other areas it's a salmon croquette.
I like croquette better.
Listen, I ain't French, so to me it's a cake.
So when you think about how women communicate, right? It is scientifically proven in most cases where women and the way our brains are wired that we have we excel when it comes to being able to communicate. But my question is it just scientifically wired that that's the case? Or is it that men have been for so long not been able to or taught not to communicate?
Well,
like, what is it? Is it just me? Or is it like, I know that I can sometimes I can run circles sometimes around Eric, not to demean him at all or to disrespect him at all, but it's just the way that my brain is wired, my thought process, what I do, how I do, when I do, where I do, all those different things. But it doesn't mean that he doesn't add value to the table. But when it comes to communicating how we feel from the depths of our core, when it comes to intimacy, when it comes to just being able to communicate at a level to where other people understand. You know, I'm with you. You know, I think that there is some truth sometimes to how women communicate.
What? Because the one thing that I come to recognize is that with that,
you want to put the cover over that?
Because you're not supposed to cover it.
Oh, okay.
With that is that because when you sit back and look at it, men are not supposed to show emotion.
Well, that's not true. They're taught that, but that's not true. No,
and that's what I'm saying. Yeah. We're going off of what was taught. It's like, men are not supposed to be emotional, right? Because if it was emotional, then I always showed us like, yo, you soft, right? And so that's the thing. It's like, now it's like I'm being taught to be something that's really not in me. So what happens, that begin to shape and mold as we as men begin to grow until we come to the realization of who we really are.
Right, and I think that's the challenge, right? Since, well, I guess I should start with boys. From the time that they come out of the womb, right? When they're babies, it's okay for them to cry, right? Because they're babies. But when they become toddlers, we start to teach them, like when they fall, get up, stop crying. Man up, be a man, do this, do that. And we teach them this all the way throughout their life. And then when they get married, we want them. I want you to talk to me. I want you to share with me. Right. I want you to share with me your emotions. I want to know what you're thinking. Whereas all their life, they've been taught in all these different scenarios and situations, from home to the street to the neighborhood. Well, if you push him or if you punk him, he's just gonna cry. And then you have to man up even on the street. Like you go to the bus stop. I'll never forget our son. We were living in this neighborhood, and our son, was, we try to teach our children to have great citizens, right? Don't go acting stupid. Don't go, embarrassing our name. You know the stuff that we do, right? So he was at the bus stop this one time, and
not the one time. It happened 2 days in a row, and he was tired
so
of
it happened 2 days in a row. So this, boy was messing with him at the bus stop.
No, he was bullying him.
And so he came home and he was like, "Mom, Dad, da 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 da." We were like, "Well,
No, he came home crying, telling us, "Mom, Dad, this kid keep bullying me, and I'm tired. I don't want to get in trouble." What did we say?
So what we first said was, "Listen, don't you throw the first punch." Period. End of story, right? And then when he came home the second day, we was like, "All right, well, listen." Because now he was starting to get picked at because he came home crying, and it wasn't that he was scared of the boy. He was scared to get in trouble by us because he knew, listen, we don't want no police trouble and activity. We don't want no problems with the school. So it's like, we just don't want any problems. And so then we were just like, you know what? Everybody need a good blood whooping.
Handle your business, Slim.
Everybody need a good blood whooping because you know how you got that one bully, and the moment you stand up to that one bully and you beat his anus, their hind parts, the one time you step up to them, they leave you alone. And not only do they leave you alone, but it lets others around you know they ain't really the one. Like, they ain't the punk that we thought that they were. So sometimes we're placed in situations where we gotta man up, we gotta woman up. And so when we do that, then we get inside of the marriage, and our husband or our wife is asking and requiring of us something that we don't know how to do.
Come on, girl. You saying something today. Any comments?
Questions?
Ooh, this croquet's looking good, though.
But is it going to look on the inside?
Baby, let me do this.
Okay. My bad.
Stop. Listen, I get this in the car.
My bad. So what do you think about that? And I think a lot of times it's not so much that the men don't know how to communicate. It's just for so long it's been suppressed. For so long I've been taught to do this. Now I have to learn a new way of doing something. And when you have to learn a new way of doing something, sometimes it's not that easy. And then the way that you communicate it, now you have to learn how to watch your tone. Now you have to learn how to be considerate of others. Now you have to learn all these things. And all your life, you were worried about just you and self.
Now you got to learn how to keep your emotions out of it all. You got to learn how to, don't be so. Why you always mad? Because they don't understand they don't understand how you communicate. So it's like all of this stuff now that you got to watch out for. It's like, come on, man, come on.
So they say that, like, when women communicate, that communication is more important to the woman than it is to the man. And I don't think that's true. I know that.
No, it's how it's communicated that's different. So it's like for men, get to the point. Just get to it. Women want to dress it up, make it nice and pretty. Like, I sometimes have to tell, baby,
see, our roles are different. Because I'm the one that's like, get to the point, and you're the one that got to go all around the world.
That's because, and you're right. So for us, it's different.
It's switched. Like, it's a little opposite. Different.
So she's to the point. Me, I go around the world until I got something I got to do. If I got something I got to do, I got to hit it quick and I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? But when you look at it on the average,
right?
Most women want to go around the world before they get to it. You gotta remember, because the one difference is that she's an alpha female, and I'm an alpha male. So a lot of times we're like rams,
right?
But in most houses, I'm saying it might not be yours. Yours might be like mine, where the woman is an alpha and also the husband's an alpha. Look at it, you be like rams. No, you know what I mean? But it's like, no, just get to it. I ain't got all day. Come on, just say what you need to say to get to it so we can go. But women like to take the time to unpack it, really break it down. Us men, listen.
The emotions, they want you to feel it, right? We all go through those different things. But sometimes, too, with the men, they're more goal-oriented. They're more competitive. They're more get to the point. So it's important for you to know what your spouse's communication style is.
Right.
We talk about that a lot. And then also the different levels of communicating. Like, there's the nonverbal, there's the verbal, there's the visual, and understanding how your spouse best communicates. Because even in the household, right? I remember when we were first married, and around salaries and around income, right? It was good to be able to say that I was bringing in a certain income level. And then in his mind, he was like, oh, well, you can make that kind of money. I can make that kind of money. And it was almost like a battle, not of jealousy, but it was almost competitive. So if you don't understand that men communicate more around goals and being competitive, you can easily take that as, man, he being jealous, or he always trying to outdo me. He always trying to do this, or he always, and most of the time that's not the intent.
It's not really
so
it.
Ask about what the intent is, right? Don't just assume what the intent is. I like to say all the time, because once you start assuming to make an ass out of you and me, right? So when you start assuming that thing, you start in your mind developing, writing, role playing, directing this Emmy Award movie that ain't got nothing to do with what your spouse said or their intent.
Right.
Yes.
Someone said nice kitchen.
Thank you. Thank you.
They said kitchen therapy.
Thank you. Love it.
Oh,
so if you're just tuning in, this is Kitchen Conversations, Marriage Takeover, where we come in every Thursday night, 7 p.m., and we just have a conversation. Questions,
Someone
comments?
just said, understanding women is like why pizza is round, placed in a square box, and eating in triangles.
Say what?
I love it. Who is that? I love that. Let me see. Who is that?
Returning your tippings.
I love it.
What was that?
He said understanding women was like putting a round pizza inside of a square box.
No, it's like understanding women is like why pizza is round, placed in a square box, and eating in triangles.
It's complicated, right? But some men are just as complicated. And the beautiful thing is, like when you think, I love that analogy. I have never heard that before, Phil, but I love it. So when you think about that, right, you think about all the different variations and the dynamics of it, but it works. Right? So when the pizza is sliding inside of that square box, it doesn't necessarily get messed up unless you mush on top of the box. Mm-hmm. Right? I love that.
But there's always room for something else.
And then, right, so you can put the side little sauces in there. You can put, the extra little pieces that you want to put on top of the pizza in there, because there's always room for expansion. Mm-hmm. Yes.
He said thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I love that analogy. So, yes. And it all fits. It all works. And so understanding, I think where we get caught up sometimes is we try to analyze and logically figure it out. Well, why didn't they just put the pizza or make the pizza square and put it inside of this box?
So what?
Well, if we did that, then maybe we wouldn't have had enough room to put all these other things in there. And some pizza places, they make the pizza square and they put them in the square boxes. But sometimes it works. But I know when we get the square pizzas out of the square boxes and we go to open it up, there's cheese all on the edges, right? You go to pick it up and you're like, oh man. All the good gooey cheese is on the edges when you lift up the lid. So is there room for expansion when you think about, well, why is it this way? Why is it that way? And sometimes it just works. It's complicated, but it works.
But you know what the funny thing is? It's like
I love that analogy. Yes.
It's like when you are able, right, to really come together to understand strengths. And weaknesses within each other, and that's the thing, because from it is that's how we actually begin to really myself is pop. That's how we begin. Dang, I ain't got my glove on. Oh well. So that's how we really begin to understand how we begin to understand each other as a couple. Because that's the thing. Because like, listen, because we communicate differently. Because we communicate differently, this is what helps us to actually, how can I say it? This is what keeps us growing together and building together.
Right.
Because of, it's like, hold on now, wait a minute. There's got to be a better way we can do this,
And then too, how I like to think about it, it never gets boring, right? It's never a dull moment because there's always something new to learn about each other.
Right.
Especially when you're when you explore the level of communication, just sitting down thinking sometimes, like, I wonder what they're thinking about. I wonder what they're saying. I wonder, You know, and sometimes it's just nothing.
Right.
But it leaves room to have creativity. It
Right.
leaves room to make sure that there's never a dull moment. It leaves room for you really to explore one another and never really get tired or content with one another.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. But see, sometimes we don't know how to map that piece out because what we have here is a failure to communicate.
Right. Sometimes we get caught up in us not agreeing.
Right.
We get caught up in like the dumb stuff about, oh, I don't understand. Sometimes you might not understand.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that you're right and they're
wrong. Right. Right.
So if you can come to the nucleus of just, you know what, I love you. I appreciate you.
Right.
And so if I can love you and appreciate you, I understand that there are some complexities about you, and I might not always understand, but there are some complexities about me as well, and I may not always understand. So how can we bridge this gap together and create our own language?
Right. Oh my goodness, girl, you was on it like Jam Pony. Express. DJ.
Create our own language.
Right. Oh my goodness, that is so good.
That way, you don't have a whole lot of frustration, right? Not too much salt on it.
I got you, baby.
Okay.
Go ahead now.
Any comments? We doing sweet potatoes, honey, and
green. Baby, just sit back and let me do.
I don't know how that's gonna taste, y'all.
Just sit back and let me do.
I'm sure it's gonna be amazing.
Yep. Have I ever failed you on kitchen conversation?
I mean, last week was kind of.
Listen, that wasn't
last week was a little suspect.
It was a little iffy. It was a little iffy.
Someone said you learn something new every day.
I know. It's almost
y'all, you sitting here watching me. Can you talk?
I'm sorry, because I'm still caught up in the greens and the sweet potatoes together. I don't know what that's gonna be like, but we about to find out. Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's exactly what we're gonna do. So, questions, comments? Yes. Huh?
Miss Jalisa joined.
Who?
Jalisa.
Oh, hey. Hey, so we are having just a conversation. For you all who are just tuning in, we have salmon croquette. We have collard greens and sweet potato blend medley. And garlic naan bread for dinner. And we're just having a conversation just around how men and women communicate differently and how we can, thank you guys, how we communicate differently and how we can bridge that gap. So if you're just tuning in, one of our viewers, Philip, just gave a phenomenal analogy around the complexity of communicating with women, right? And understanding the women and how they communicate. And I love it because you never think about it, but, you know, I've never thought about communicating that way or understanding how the women, communicate in such a way of the complexities of why you would put, you know, a round pizza inside of a square box, right? But when you think about that, it's just like, it is a little complex, right? But it works, it fits. And then you can add other things and then there's room for expansion. And your pizza isn't messed up once you go to open up the pizza. Sometimes when you have that square pizza and you put the square pizza in the square box, you open up the box and then you got the pizza all on the side and the cheese, all the good stuff just kind of caught up on the sides of the bottom of the little box. So when you lift it up, it's like, man, so now you're eating the pizza off the sides. All kind of crazy stuff, right? But when you think about the analogy and the complexities of why women and men communicate differently, we were talking about earlier how for so long, like when men are babies, like when they're toddlers, we suppress how they think. We suppress how they feel. We suppress those things. And then when we marry them or they get married, then we expect them to show up and be able to produce a different version of who they are. And they don't know how to do that and be that. Right. And sometimes the same thing for women. Sometimes, like for me, and why I say our communication roles are very different is because I'm the oldest of a single parent household. So and I was used, and Erica's the youngest. And so I was used to taking the lead. I was used to, I couldn't cry long. I was used to, you know, I guess what you call the latchkey kids. All right, I saw a post the other day on social media how when they're talking about, the latchkey kids are the real goats, how when we were growing up, we had to come home, we had to pick up our younger sibling from school, make sure we all got in the house together, make sure we locked up, make sure we put the food together so that we could eat until our parents got home, or in our case, my mom got home, so that we could, have a decent dinner. Then after that, we were washing the dishes, we were doing, homework and doing all of that stuff kind of on our own. And it's no slight to our parents, but they had to work and we had to be home. And so my mom, she did everything that she could do and she was supposed to do. But that produced a level of responsibility inside of me. And it made me independent to where I didn't need a man to come along to do certain things for me. So when I got married, I was being asked to produce a different version of who I was or who I knew to be. Because I was used to working. I've been working since I was 14. I was used to working. I was used to making my own money. I was used to paying bills, not just for me, but for the household. So now we come together as a union in a marriage, in a matrimony, and he's like, well, wait a second, baby. I just want you to cook this and to cook that. And, I did all right.
And what you say, we came in with our thought process of what marriage should or what marriage is, by not looking at our dynamics.
Right.
And because of the lack of communication, it calls for, we kind of went a little different because the lack of communication.
Right, we bumped heads a lot because we didn't understand. It was almost as if I was like, well, wait a minute, but I'm used to doing this and this and this and this. I'm not used to, like, I did a little cooking here and there for us, that was required, but it wasn't like my specialty. It wasn't something that I was used to doing. And then when it came to communicating, I wasn't used to communicating in a way to where I was able to expose my feelings, because when we were younger, we were just told to get over it, keep it moving. Right? We couldn't sit and sulk in, oh my God, they're talking about me at school, they're doing this and doing that. No, because my mama didn't play that.
Yeah, go ahead.
They didn't play that. You got in trouble at school if you want to. And she was a single mom and she was working 2 jobs and she had to get off her job to come up to the school. Oh, baby, you was getting that behind toe up. And you was probably going to get it toe up twice because she had to come to the school. So she was going to do it at the school. And then when she got home and she thought about it, she was probably going to do it again. So that was like, we couldn't think about that. We was like, all right, we got to keep it going. We got to act like it does not faze me. Right. And so I was going through a life where I was acting like it didn't faze me, where it really actually fazed me. And then I took it into the marriage, and now I'm expected to communicate where all my life,
when it's supposed to faze you.
Right, all my life I'm like, well, this don't faze me.
Come on.
All my life I'm not being true to self because I know that I gotta keep it moving.
Come on, girl. Come on now. Don't fool. I'm getting excited. I gotta get back over here.
Yo, so just thinking about that, we carry that into our marriages. We carry that into our relationships, subconsciously not knowing that that's what we're doing. And then our spouse is sitting on the other side. Well, I don't understand why you won't open up to me. Well, here I am. Well, I don't understand why it's so important. We making it. We keeping it moving, right? Well, we have to break down those dynamics and say, wait a minute, something isn't right. And although you're used to what you were raised up on, you're used to your belief system, you're used to your value system, and I'm used to mine. Now, how can we bridge this gap so that we can create our own communication blueprint so that we can really have a successful marriage?
Right.
That's the key. We come together with all these different things. And yes, there's a lot of myth around how women communicate and how men communicate and the differences in how it's communicated and how it's perceived and how it's received and how it comes off. But the reality is we get to create the blueprint.
The blueprint, right.
It doesn't matter where you've come from. It doesn't matter what you've experienced.
But guess what but what is the one thing that you got to do? You've got to be willing to listen. You got to be willing to communicate.
Take that off, baby.
You've got to be willing to communicate with no hidden agenda. You got to be willing to communicate and listen without waiting to respond. You got to be willing to communicate with your spouse. Go ahead, honey. I got to focus real quick.
You good? Okay. Yeah. And then we just, again, just being able to communicate, when we communicate, to just lay down those walls. Be vulnerable.
Don't lay them down. Tell them Jones down. Tell them walls down.
Be vulnerable enough to trust your spouse to know that their intent is truly to love you. That their intent is really to walk through this journey with you, right? And don't be afraid to do that, and make sure that when you're communicating that you don't do so out of a place of being hurt, right? Hurt people. And hurt people communicate in a way with the intent to hurt others. And sometimes we don't realize that in our space of where we've grown up, how we've grown up. And it's really important to know that if you are hurt and you aren't healed yet, to understand that I can be communicating to my spouse and killing him or her inside unintentionally because I'm hurting.
Right.
So address your hurt so that you can come and communicate from a place of healing.
Right.
And restoration. Yes, questions, comments?
Someone said they went through that, but failed to that means first attempt in learning with communication.
Say that one more time.
They said that they went through that, but failed to that means first attempt in learning communication.
Okay, that's good. But failed attempt?
Fail means that first attempt in learning.
Yes. Okay. The acronym, failed attempt in learning. FAIL. Got it. I got it, y'all. I got it. Yes, I love it. I love it. And for me, I don't even like to look at it as a failure. I love the acronym, so I do want to keep that acronym because that is really good. But I look at it as a failure. Like we failed in this area, we stumbled in this area, but we're learning to lean forward. Right? We're learning that through this stumble, through this hurdle, that we really can get back up again and we can keep it moving. And so even in your failure, your failed attempt in learning, that's still around the same essence. Right? That's still the same essence. So when you fall, you get right back up. And then the beautiful thing is when you get back up together and you go through the trenches together, something happens with your relationship and you get closer. It gets stronger. And you all get to be able to go and on that successful journey together. So I love that. I love that. I don't want sauce on mine, honey.
Yeah, I messed it up. I messed up my sauce.
And sauce don't look.
I messed up my sauce.
So yeah, so I just want you, any other questions or comments, but I love that failure, that fail. First attempt in learning. First attempt in learning. I love that. First attempt in learning. And throughout the journey of your marriage, you're going to always be learning. So you never ever should get content because we're always learning each other. We're always going through different seasons. Go ahead, baby.
Boom.
It looks good.
There you go. Salmon croquette. I messed up the sauce, so I couldn't put it on here. Salmon croquette.
That looks good.
Boom.
Looks good. You're always learning, and each season of your marriage is different, and it may require something different of you.
Right.
And so just learn to be able to go through those things together so that it will continue to build your marriage stronger, your relationship stronger, a tighter bond, more unity, more love for each other. All right, so it looks like dinner is ready. What do you guys want on the list for next week? On the menu for next week? The salmon croquette was good. I like that. I don't know if the viewer on here who mentioned that last week is on, but I like that. What's on the menu for next week, you guys? That looks good, baby. Any takers for next week? What's on the menu for next week? No takers? All right. Well. No takers for next week? You want to put the bread on there?
Get ready to pull out now.
Baby. Dinner is looking good. Well, I'm going to step to the side so he can get this hot pan and get the bread cut.
I'll be long gone.
You didn't turn it on?
I did. Give me a second.
Yeah. So this is Kitchen Conversations. Let's see. I had a good conversation with y'all tonight. I appreciated that tonight. What's on the menu for next week?
See.
Yes.
Mr. Philip Tippins is on a roll here.
He is on the roll.
He says, I have one more for you.
Yes.
Falling is a part of life. Getting up is living.
Yes. 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 Getting up is living. Yeah. Because if you stay down and you fall down, then like everybody can do that.
You know, the fun thing is,
it ain't good being down. It's not good falling and staying there.
Hey, you know the thing is that when it comes down to your marriage,
that looks good.
Do you know that even though when you fall, you learn, but when you get up, it makes your bond that much closer?
I just said that, baby.
I didn't hear you because I was over here rinsing. I apologize. Because the one thing is that if there's never no trials to come against your marriage, right? Then how can this bond grow?
Yeah.
Because see, the thing is that when we begin to look at it, a problem is on the outside. But what we do, we tend to make the problem between, come here, Dad, get back in the camera. We tend to make the problem here when it's us versus the problem.
Right.
So when you look at it, when the Lord says what God has put together, let no man take us under. What is the man? It's the problem.
Right.
So as long as we continue to stand together against the problem, but what we do, whatever the problem is, because we have a failure to communicate, because someone can't seem to sacrifice themselves and die themselves first, so that they can be able to hear effectively, so that they can communicate effectively, guess what? Now we make the problem between us, and then that problem begins to separate us.
Right.
But then we come to our senses and be like, you know what? Hold on. Let's relook at this. That's the problem over there. So let us figure out our strategy on how we're going to handle this problem.
Right.
And we're going to handle that something. We're going to grow closer as we hurdle over the problem. Boom.
And then you start living. And once you start living, you can look back over that problem and just start laughing about it because you're like, wait a second. You remember when?
Yeah.
And then you overcome that hurdle. And then there's a confidence that is built up once you start going over hurdles. Once you start falling and getting back up again and start living, there's a confidence that comes in between the two of you all.
Yep.
Then now you start to be able to conquer so many other things inside of your life. And then you come together and then we can conquer the world.
And then, right? Because then when you be like, hey, babe, I ain't getting enough. Why can't you tell me why I don't get enough? Or why we can't have relations enough?
Something on your lip. I just want to make sure that don't go.
Oh. You know what I'm saying? Because now we're getting to the nitty gritty of us.
Right.
Because sometimes it could be something that is within us.
Right. Questions, comments?
Questions, comments.
Well said.
Sweet.
Oh, someone commented meatloaf for next week.
Meatloaf.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I need something easy. Thank you.
Sweet.
Thank you. Meatloaf it is. Hey, give me a side dish.
Mashed potatoes, right?
You want mashed potatoes?
What else do you eat meatloaf with? Y'all eat meatloaf with other stuff? I guess you could do rice, right?
I don't want rice.
Mashed potatoes, right? Meatloaf and mashed potatoes, right? They go together.
We'll do that.
Okay, sweet.
What green? No green?
Greens.
We can do greens again. Or green beans. What green do we go with?
String beans.
String beans?
Yeah.
String beans? Okay.
I can get some lady long.
They said cabbage.
Cabbage, yes. Let's do cabbage.
Listen, are you gonna come over here and cook this cabbage? I'm messing with you.
Let's do cabbage. Yes. Fry some cabbage. Yes. Thank you. So next one, meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and cabbage.
Yep.
Sweet.
So hey,
the bread, baby, the bread. Oh Lord, he done burnt the bread. Jesus! You gotta pull it out so they can see.
I am. I gonna see.
OMG.
bread, engaging in all this wonderful conversation. So I'm just saying, you know what I mean? So pray my strength. All right. So it's all right though. I still got butter on it, right? The butter ain't burned.
We are not eating that bread. That's the bread, and when you let it sit, it's gonna get all crispy. It'll be a weapon in a couple of seconds.
Hey.
OMG.
So y'all just witnessed that. I just messed up my bread.
Well, we appreciate you all for showing up, for tuning in. It looks like there's some more comments.
I'm gonna make some
Someone said, I agree with everything you guys said. God created marriage. You have to keep him in the center of it.
Yeah.
That's something my husband and I would do.
Hey, you know I don't burn often, but that you can check that on me. It wasn't her fault. None of it was her fault.
OMG.
I messed up. She now said it myself. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, baby.
It's all good.
I burnt the bread.
It's all good.
Hey, Phil, go cut that grass.
We appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Next week we'll be back here, same place, same time.
Don't forget, you have followers, honey.
Yes, please make sure that you follow, like, and subscribe. We're on all things social media at Marriage Takeover. So we have YouTube, we've got TikTok, we've got IG, and y'all be trying to grow our IG page. So if y'all could like us up on IG or follow us, that would be amazing.
That would be great.
And then Facebook, our Facebook group and community, if you want to get in and see what we're doing, what we're talking about. We celebrate anniversaries inside of the group. We get on and we do prayer inside of the group. We get on, just have a conversation, right? We send out newsletters and just information to try to stay connected.
So, hey, if you join the Facebook group, please answer the 3 questions, please.
And y'all got our daughter over here cracking up. The moderator is cracking up. So I don't know what is coming through on the comments, but she is cracking up.
Hey, what the comments say?
Someone said it looks eatable.
No.
And someone else said it's not burnt, it's well done.
Hey, here it is. I put that Cajun seasoning on top of it.
Right. That charcoal flavor on top. Right. So we appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm your girl, Tamika.
I want to say,
Yes.
any final comments?
Someone said trying to do 2 things at once.
Right.
I multitask.
No.
I'm not the best. I'm not the best.
So we will be back on Monday. We do couples prayer. What else am I doing?
So hey, join us on Monday for couples prayer.
And the webinar. We have the webinar recording if you want to catch that. Last week we didn't have the link in the bio. The link is in the bio this week. So if you want to check that out, that link is in the bio. And I think that's it.
That's it. Okay. So hey,
we appreciate you guys. I'm your girl, Tamika.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Y'all cook. Go ahead, bless the food, baby, so we can get out here and eat. Go.
Why we got to bless the food now?
Because we finna eat.
Right. We normally don't bless the food on the thing.
Okay.
I'm your girl, Tamika.
I'm your boy, Chef E. Rottnam, that burnt something in the kitchen today.
And this is Marriage Takeover, signing out. We love you guys.
Love
we
y'all.
appreciate you guys so much.
Hey,
see
come
you guys
back
next time.
next week. See you on Monday. Couples
I
prayer.
know.
Love y'all. Hold on, baby. Let me get the thing in. Okay, good.